This is Billy Daniel Bunter back for another episode of the Rave Story TV, and I have been itching to get this man on this podcast since the moment I started it. Now, Shabba D on two levels. One, the energy that he's brought for like 30 to 35 years on the mic. There's not a single raver in the genres of drum and bass, jungle, hardcore who have not felt that. Oh, it just goes all over your spirit. And then in recent times, we was having a chat at a gig we both played at. This guy, as he's grown up, he's just got such inspirational thoughts and viewpoints on life as he's grown through life and the scene. And I had to get him on here. I love him. Shabba, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thank you, brother.
It's an honour.
Wow, man. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, what an intro, man. Big up. You know, the love and respect is always there. And yeah, just grateful. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be on here, mate.
It's been a long time, innit, doing this, mate?
Yeah, has been. We had, like you said, we were caught up the other day. You know, sometimes it's months, sometimes it's weeks. You never know when you're going to even get that 5-10 minutes in and have a little catch up. But yeah, it's always a pleasure to see you. And yeah, good vibes, man.
Likewise, mate. So where did your inspiration for picking up the microphone come from?
Good question. I think like the first thought that comes into my head would be like obviously reggae music. But before that, it was kind of like my first experience of any like rapping or things was like, you know, Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, Public Enemy. Obviously, I weren't a hip hop sort of guy, but at that age, you're a sponge to a lot of musics, and yeah, I kind of heard that and I vibed off to that. But the Beastie Boys was kind of like, you know, going around taking Volkswagen signs.
Do you remember that? Everyone would just be jacking VW signs.
Who's got the biggest sign? Who's got the little tiny one? You know what I mean? It was a buzz, and it was a time. So that was my first experience of that, seeing sort of like rapping and all that. But then I kind of like where I grew up in East London, there was a lot of like English reggae. So like Eastman, big up Eastman, like that sort of thing, Eastman sound. And I used to get tapes on my flats from like, we had a sound system on our estate called Creation. And it was all the guys I grew up with, the olders, but there was all a part of it. Peter Banzer, Cowboy Ranger, Junior Leng, you know what I mean? Like these guys I looked up to, and yeah, they inspired me. Like when I see them chatting and just in the flats or whatever, it was just a vibe. And there would be like a Dan's Park thing at Dan's Park, like once a year in June, where they do like a stage show and everyone comes, and yeah, you just see all the artists from the flats going there and mash it up and people vibes in. And that was my first sort of inspiration to say, yeah, like, wow, like I want to do that, you know?
Yeah, love that.
And I was also into reggae music because I just love reggae sound tapes and the clashing, and I weren't too fussed about the D, like, because in Jamaica or in that culture, they call the DJ the MC or the artist. So it was more like, in our terms of a DJ, like, you know, mixing dub plates or like sounds like, you know, Kilimanjaro and things like that. I weren't into that sort of thing. I was more into the live performances and the clashing.
Yeah.
So that's where I got inspired as well by people like Papa San, Lieutenant Stitchy, because I like the fast chatting as well. And even English artists like Daddy Freddy, General Levy, Tenafly. I used to listen to Coxsone. Do you know what I mean? Because the tapes would just float around at school.
Yeah, and there was video tapes as well.
I never seen the videos
era?
till later.
Right.
But when I started seeing the videos and I was putting faces to the voice, because I always knew the voices, and I used to go out my way to try and like trade sound tapes, and because I knew a lot of different people. So I guess then I didn't realize, but I was, you know, a person that could go to many different areas and around different people, and I kind of fitted in that. And you know, my friends were different, multicultural, you know, white friends, black friends, where a lot of my other friends, if they're white or black, they just kind of just hanged around with the same. I was kind of like everywhere.
Yeah.
So I guess I was just getting sound tapes, and then, you know, I'd go down Finsbury Park, and it seemed like my dad's friends are totally different, you know, North London Cockneys, do you know what I mean? So it was like, they weren't into all that. My dad used to say, what's that music? But he grew up on reggae as well, so it was funny. So I used to just get love for it, man. Like, you know what I mean, in school and that. And a buzz for passing the tapes, and that's where the music inspiration, because I see them perform and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
I need to do this. It blew me away, especially when you go to a live session or something like that. So yeah, that's them, man. So big up all them people I mentioned and loads more, man. Just inspired me, and the whole Shabba Ranks thing and Ninja Man and
Ninja
Super
Man
Cat.
blows me away that he could just walk on stage, say one thing, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like the energy he brings to it. Because that's whenever I've seen you perform or heard you perform, I just think of that. Like, I think of that inspiration that they had, and you just seem to like carry that.
Yeah. So people like why did you, why, like, where did the Shabba thing come from or whatever? At school, I had a different name.
Right.
Like someone just gave me a name. Like, it was mad. It was for a situation, and I just had a name. And then, like, basically, when the pirate era, the radios sort of like started up, the pirate stations, back in the day, on my flats, because obviously it was all the guys that were running it. Grew up in East London, Nightingale. There was like four stations: Paradise, Weekend Rush, Defection. You had Station FM everyone was transmitting from there. So that was the buzz, you know what I mean, back in the day. And yeah, it was just like, I don't know, the whole radio pirate, everything was a time at school as well. Like that sort of made me like where my name come from, because I went to Jamaica and I come back to England. I was like 13, 14.
Right. Sorry, Dan, what year was you born?
77.
Wow, so you're younger than me, and I always thought I was young coming up.
Yeah.
And so, wow, you was young when you
I
were
was
hearing
young.
Beastie Boys
was 13,
and taking in reggae.
All the Beastie Boys,
yeah,
when I was like 11, 12.
Yeah,
like,
even
that was
younger,
young,
so then the reggae, so you were young.
So I was 13, 14, like, I'd say, by the time I got on Pirate, that was around that time there, that was the whole English reggae thing was between the age of 13 and 15.
Yeah.
And then when I got to like 14, 15, I kind of started hanging around with the older boys, and that's when I got into the pirate radio. But what is, one summer I went to Jamaica and I come back, and I went for 2 weeks with my mum and my brother, and I come back and I was so brown, like, like back then it was, not everyone went away. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was just like, proper like a coolie, do you know what I mean? I come back and then people was like, and Shabba was the biggest thing at the time. So a couple of the guys on the station, because I had sort of like Jamaican black friends, African friends, and then I had like all the Cockneys and the radio lot. But they was all mates.
Yeah.
But there was just different separate groups of friends, do you know what I mean? So, but they knew each other, but they, hanging about back in the day, like my mates would they'll be blacks and whites, but they're more Cockney, and these ones are more Yardie or whatever, or like, you know what I mean, patois. So it just come to the stage where one of the guys was playing a football game, and when I come back, he was like, Shabba. And then, it just stuck with me. And then Miley, like, on Defection, he kind of said, I went, because you used to get bigged up, like, how powerful the pirate radio was back in the day. That was before MTV, before the internet. Like, if your name got shouted on the radio, you're a superstar, because people used to phone up, like, if they're bigging your name up all the time, hold tight, So, like, Miley was like, it was like a piss take. It was like, hold tight, Shabba B. Yeah, because obviously my second name or whatever, it wasn't even Shabba D, it was Shabba B. And then he started bigging me up, and then, it just stuck with me. So everywhere, man, was like, Shabba. And that's how my name come about. And then kind of like, as I, later on, I got into the pirate radio, and there was a whole story about how I got on there. Like, it was just to go up there and do anything to get in the studio, because it was so like powerful.
The vibe,
and where they knew me, and then
it.
I knew people, and I was kind of like using my brain, like bringing people there just to get in the studio. And then I got to answer the phone, and then before I knew it, I was watching my mates, that like my close friends, and they was just like, like this is the thing. And there was girls coming up there. It was like, wow, I never seen nothing like this before. Like, it was crazy. But I mean, the whole Shabba thing, and then becoming an MC, like, come after, it was just, like I said to you earlier, it was more just, how your voice sounded, if you're clear. I've got a brain, so it was like answering the phone and giving people shout outs. I loved it. Like, it was a buzz.
It was a buzz, wasn't it?
3, 4, 5 months, and then as things progressed, people trusted me more.
What year?
Wow, like, talking, it weren't 89, you're talking
it was
90,
like
91, 92, like 91, 92, like them times there was like early Weekend Rush days. And then the whole, there's different things. But yeah, I mean, like the station split, Defection and Rush, and I kind of went. All my mates were on Rush as well, but all my mates were on Defection, and kind of like the Defection was more sensible at that time. Goldie was on there, Chemistry and Storm, Mixmaster Max. You know, there was Lieutenant Stitchy. Like they split. There was all mates, but something went wrong with the stations, and I kind of had to go on this side. But all my other mates were on Rush as well. But it was unprofessional. To be truth, it was, and Defection was more professional, and like it was my older friends that knew my family. So I was like, I'm gonna go with them, even though it was all cool.
Yeah.
But it was come like a rival because they split up and whatever, and different management and all that. Anyway. Yeah, did the Defection thing, and that I got sensible on Defection. People trusted me. They was like going out to Nathan Way and Plumstead and them places, and I was left in the studio for 8 hours, looking after the studio through the night, clanging it away, you know, on the decks.
Because a lot of people don't know that you can DJ as well.
Yeah, so I had to learn how to DJ. That's later, but at them times, I was just like, yeah, I'm trying. And how do you get this mixing? And boom, boom, boom. And people's like, well, don't mix. They'll be like, Shab, don't mix. Like, you're doing good, but don't mix. You can't mix. And I'm like, I can. And I couldn't mix, you get me, until I learned it later. But yeah, I mean, at the time, I was a buzz going through the night. And then like Monday, I'd go to school, check in, because I bunked a lot as well. Like I was going to
ask you that. Was you good or bad at school?
I was so good at school, bruv. I was good, like, up until the third year.
Yeah.
Up until the third year, and all this was going on around the same time, and I don't know what it was. Like, I was bright as well. I didn't really like maths, but English, history, geography, I loved it. PE, CDT, like, you know, craft design, technology, woodwork, and all that. I loved it all. But when I got to the third year, my class split up. And I was in like A, and it went to like, you know, they had people go to D, C, F or whatever, and I went to C. And that's when I like started hanging around with, you know, that man in the school that was just like, you know, that's where it went. Like, yeah, I was bunking and I see other things. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it was just an age thing, but no, it was definitely the mover class, because like a couple of the people in the classes was like, you know, they used to bunk off and they had names in the school or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it went from there. So. It's mad.
Do you think discovering the music and the vibe around the radio and doing pirate radio from the flats and the energy of that as well, sort of like, it was like, all right, I'm bright, but I'm going
it was a bit of both. It was like, because I had my friends, some of them was on street as well, so I was like getting pulled into that. Like, I remember I'm in Hackney, like things are going on. Like, I got older friends and they're on different stuff, and I was like, back in the day, it was crazy stuff as well. Like, wanted to sit here and say, yeah, it was a fairy tale, because there was loads of things going on, but I was getting pulled in a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, to do crime and with my other friends that were making money and all that. But the music was I always loved it more. And football, I used to be well into football. So that was a big savior for me, because I used to play like 4 or 5 times a week for various different clubs. And I was good. Or, you know, I had a sweet left foot. Do you know what I mean? So I was like getting signed up. West Ham coach was my PE teacher, so I was like being put onto things. My dad's got connections, so a lot was going on around that time, and that's why I love the music, because it's like my savior. Like, when they was out doing things, my other friends, I was kind of in the studio and I wanted to do different things.
Yeah.
And like, I got nicked once or twice, and that was enough for me. Do you know what I mean? I never went to jail, you know what I mean? But a lot of my friends around me were
So
jail.
there's a lot going on in your early teens,
yeah,
man.
a lot going on.
A lot going on.
The football, like my dad now, like, how do I even start? Like, my dad was like the tour manager for the Sex Pistols, and still is, like, in theory, because they're back they're touring again, and my dad's been on tour with them or whatever. But yeah, so it's like, that's my family. On my dad's side, like, obviously my dad is a face. He's you know, his brother, my uncle, was a face. People know them in North London. Do you know what I mean? As in good vibes. Like, my dad's a good guy, never took a drug, don't drink. You know, good person. You know what I mean? Good heart. So yeah, introduced me to loads of people when I was young, like famous people. Took me to the Arsenal football ground. Like, one of his best friends was Ian Stewart. He used to play for QPR, and he was an Irish international as well, Northern Ireland, played in the World Cup. So, like, yeah, just through him, like, had loads of connections to meet the Arsenal players when I was young, Niall Quinn, Alan Smith. Like, I was mad about football as well. Me and my dad used to just watch videos, and I was all about football as well. So all this was going on, as well as the You know, the music was just there. That was just like a fuzzball for me when I went to Hackney or whatever. That was something I was into. But what I was really doing was doing different stuff all around. Like my dad used to introduce me to like, you know, one of his best friends was like he was going out with the bird in Bananarama, like back in the 80s. So it was all like
There's
pop
a lot
stuff
going on.
You know, his best mate was Suggsy. Do you know what I mean? From Madness and North London. So I used to go up there and go Chelsea with them as a 9-10-year-old that was younger. So when I was older, I knew all them people. I used to go up North London and I had people, all that. Yeah, so I was getting pulled in Hackney a little bit, but I felt warmer in North London as well, even though like it was both. I was living in Hackney and North London and kind of where I had the balance, I think that elevated me as well, kind of just making my mind up that, you know, the road thing ain't for me. And I just love music and being around this. And, you know, then I got into the raves, you know, I went to my first rave, you know what I mean? Like,
Can you remember your first rave?
Cedric's.
Oh, Cedric's.
Yeah, like, and Dungeons, like them days.
Yeah, around there, yeah.
So Cedric's and Dungeons, and there's probably loads of other names, but I went to a few, like, bashment dances, and they played a bit of jungle there or whatever, hardcore, but it was nothing like, you know, Cedric's was kind of the first sort of like daytime rave I went.
Am I right in thinking that there was flyers in like 92, 93 that highlighted that you were 13, the fabulous, that like, I'm sure there's some...
Basically, telepathy, yeah, because like my first sort of rave, like I think my first booking, I can't, like, exactly, I think the first ever time I got paid, I know when that was, because that was like that was Outrage, Busby's.
Right.
Yeah, that's when I got my first booking with my name on the flyer, with my wage pack. But before then, I got paid before that, like, but it was just like, it was a freestyle thing. Like, I used to get a little £30, little £20 or whatever, 50 quid if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
That's like 500 quid back in the day, do you know what I mean? Like, for me as a kid. But I think it was my first sort of time was around Cedric's where I went to my first rave, but it was like, yeah, it was, what's the guy's name? Bowler. Remember Bowler used to put on things, what was his brand's name? He used to do things in Labyrinth, but after.
Right.
And that was way after the Labyrinth days, but it was kind of that sort of era where I got my bookings. And then morning after, I was a resident for Paris and Sherry at the Garden Club in Covent Garden. I remember that. And then that moved to Leicester Square as well. But I was there, and then Telepathy was the first break, obviously, like Wax. Was the first resident.
Remember that was called Flappers before Wax?
Yeah. So I don't even remember. I know I had a name before that.
Yeah, Flappers.
But I met Kenny, and Kenny was kind of linking the radio stations, and then he come down, and he was a thing, and then he just called me Fanta because my name was Shabba. Obviously, man was calling me Shabba, and he was like, fantastic Shabba.
Yeah.
Because when he heard me spit and all that, he was like, wow. And then, yeah, I just did a thing there, and I was put on the flyer there every Friday, and it was just mad from there. But then I didn't find my feet. That was like 93 or whatever, and then 94... 95 was just all freestyle, like Jungle Splash, all that. Then I was a free agent. I weren't on an agency. I was kind of rolling with Jungle Fever and Eastman. So big up Eastman and Jungle Fever and Kool, because obviously that was
Dan.
Yeah, that was like my first sort of serious move to get on an agency. But before then, it was just like do what I can and whatever. And then I blew up in Germany, big, like 94, like 95. After the Jungle Splash around that time, MC Convention, I started going places, you know, Canada, you know, that was later. Now Canada was later. That was 99. I'll never forget that. That's the first time I went
Dan,
there.
can you remember, like, before jungle, before drum and bass, like the hardcore music, like, so you've gone from like the
I was in it from
fascinated, of course, you've gone from it like fascinated with reggae and the reggae performance and that showmanship. Like when you first
I'm talking Saturn Storm, Charlie Says, like all them tunes there, like I would come from that era, bruv. I'll come off the back of the Warehouse. I did my actual, like basically a family friend used to go to Warehouse parties, and she was a girl. She was like my mum's friend's daughter. And she was a little bit older than me, and she used to go to Warehouse parties where you get the address, they send you a thing, and you go to a phone book or whatever, you know, the old school days. So that was just before my time of raving. Like I was seeing things at that time, you know what I mean? But I weren't going out. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Then I started running away from home and all that because I wanted to be out with my mates. You know, like doing things like that, like not in a bad way, but just like I see my older lot doing this, and I had to be in at a certain time, and I wanted to go out, I wanted to experience stuff, so I did it the hard way, I guess. And And then, yeah, I think like, yeah, it was just mad, like the whole era between that time and when I found my feet really.
Yeah.
And I really like said, right, like, I've got something here, like I wanted
What
MC.
did, like, when you first started, like all of us, when hardcore and breakbeat and bass heavy music started coming through, what did it sound like to you as a 13, 14-year-old being
it was
fascinated
mad.
by reggae and then this?
Like, I think I feel the same way. Like, I would never diss any music because I love all music, but I feel the same way about, like, sort of like techno music.
Yeah.
Like, you know, techno has been one of the musics, like, and this is no disrespect to techno or whatever, it's just been something that I can only take certain amount of music for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Like other musics, I think drum and bass jungle is because it's in my blood and I've grown up with it.
Well,
that
you've
tempo,
watched
the tempo,
become,
and the, you know, the different energies and different producers and over the years or whatever. But it did come from hardcore. Let's be real. Like the first feelings was, yeah, I say it like I took my first E. Like I took my first E when I was like 15, 16. I didn't know what it was.
Yes.
The olders were doing it.
Yeah, same as me.
You know,
15,
someone give me a quarter of an E of, like, I think it was a snowball or something like that, ripped my head off. I didn't know what it was, do you know what I mean? So I'm not encouraging anybody to do that or whatever. But at that time, it was different. It was like everyone was into the raving thing. And that was mad. Like, that was a whole mad experience. But obviously, I realized later, them things weren't for me. Like, it was just an experience I had. And at that time, I was young, I was growing up. All my older friends were doing certain things. And I just wanted to experience certain things. And I think that that's where the music took me as well. Because the hardcore, I realized what was going on. And I was young, bruv, do you know what I mean? So it was like, like, it's a bit of a situation, but I loved it. Like, the feeling was good and I was around good people, but then you're fearless when you're younger.
Yeah, you are, yeah.
You're fearless, and back then you're even more fearless. Do you know what I mean? Like, knowing what I come from. And remember, around that time, I was playing football and all that as well. And then I didn't even say I got into a car accident and I got run over. I was come from a cup final on a Sunday and I got off the bus and kind of like I weren't concentrating and I run round the bus and a car pulled round and went straight over my ankle and just like put my ankle the other way round, literally. And I was like 14, 15 around that time. And then I was the first man to have I had a compound fracture in my ankle, but no bones were broke and no skin was broke. It was crushed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was like, back then it was like, it weren't unheard of because normally the skin would have written, they would have put a pin in it or whatever, but it never worked like that. So it was like a bad injury. So it put me out of football for about 6, 7 months, even longer than that, maybe a year. But I love football, so it broke my heart. But I had this MC thing when we used to go to school, like with MC and people be tapping on the wall and we had a little thing going on. I just know it was the sort of like Margaret Thatcher era because there was lyrics about Margaret Thatcher and this and that. And it was like, it was a sick, like all my friends vibesing in a block, tapping or vibesing on the way to school. And people would be like, Shabs, you're always chatting, this and that. So at school, we'd be busting it up at our break time and that with our mates. So that was always there. So when going back to the point when I got run over and all that, that was kind of like where the music just took off for me. Because I was put out of football for a little while. And then I just done more on the radio, started spitting bars. You know, I was watching Fearless, like Brain Killers and Fearless. Like, there was the main act in it, like on Weekend Rush, 9 to 11. And then I got on the Red Ant show. And then started like vibes in and then people was just like appreciating what I was doing. Yeah.
Do you think that like even in that hardcore period, you was kind of like making connections between the reggae style, the ragga style, the showmanship incorporated into the music? Could you feel that? Was you at such a young age, or was it just like you'd been MCing in school and around the radio, and it was just something that naturally sort of happened?
Yeah, it was the beat. Yeah, and then I suppose where I had, because like I said again, I go back to the fact that I had different friend groups, friendship groups. So I was like, I had all my guys that used to go to the youth club and all that and listen to reggae and play football in the pen. Like, that element, and that was all the reggae world and the bashment world, and then you had the radio station world where man would be going football and man would be doing this and, you know, going to check girls or do this or different, you know what I mean? It was a different flex going down the pub, and so I had different vibes around me. So it goes down to the fact that it was a little bit of both, like
a bit of all kinds of vibes,
a bit of all vibes,
influences,
and it influences, and then like the music, I think. when the jungle thing come, because obviously it was hardcore jungle. It was hardcore, and then it was like hardcore, hardcore jungle or whatever after, hardcore jungle is coming on. And it was like the samples were coming in, and then, Just For You London and We Are E, like that was earlier, but that they were still kicking them tunes.
Yeah, well, they inspired that next generation.
So they were kicking, like, I remember them tunes, like hitting the B line and be like, woof. Yeah. Like, and then like, I think like when the reggae thing come into it, like it was like happy days, like. But as an MC, it worked kind of, because it blocked us out a little bit as an MC. But it was good because like I learned about the scene, and I learned that it weren't, okay, this is what it's about, the DJ's there, and you learn about things at that time, and then it's a wave, innit? But you don't see it coming. You ain't got your surfboard, but it's a wave, do you know what I mean? At the time, you just oh, what's going on? Because I tell you exactly, I remember exactly. It was like 94, 95, Shy Effects, you had Shy Effects Helicopter and all that, tearing it up. So, the other helicopter as well, when that got played, like it was mad. Like, but there was other sides. Then the ragga thing started coming in. Then the scene was sort of splitting. But I didn't realize at the time what was going on. I kind of the same way probably when I split radio stations, like what's going on here? But it was a big thing
because everything moved so quickly.
It was moving so quick. Like the whole General Levy thing was going on. There was loads around that area. I remember the music was just going to the ragga thing. And it was like, where am I going to go? But my heart was like, I didn't really want to go to the jungle side because I was getting into the MCing thing. But then I didn't want to go on this side because I didn't feel as warm as I did over this side. Yeah. Because all my people was over there, and then there was movements, like all the promoters, and I was working with Paul, and there was other things, telepathy, and so they was kind of caught in the middle. Yeah. Because there was rave thing, and then like the ragga thing coming, it didn't really suit their outfit.
Because it all moved so quickly, didn't it? Like if you think just that period you're talking about, Weekend Rush, the events of telepathy, and like telepathy. I remember telepathy starting out in that bleeps and bass 1990 era, moving into breakbeat hardcore, then so prolific with jungle. Same as Kool when I used to listen to Kool FM late 91, early 92.
That's got to get mentioned. That was like
but week in, week out, it was moving so quick in tempos, samples people were using. So when fashions hit, whether it was ragga jungle, piano hardcore, jungle techno, whatever it was, all of us, and we're so much younger, and like, what way do we go? Because it moves so quick.
That's jog memory. So as I'm talking to you, I'm jogging my memory, and I'm like, wow, because it's good to talk about these things and get, so the knowledge is there, but it's kind of like when you don't talk about these things every day. That's my point, you know what I mean? So when you talk about them, you kind of remember things as well. But that time when I'm saying, so it was kind of caught in both which way am I going to go? And then I think, like, I did go to the jungle because I was a junglist soldier and I was getting put on jungle flyers, but I was still like, because the drum and bass thing weren't developed yet. They weren't developed. There was dark sound, there was dark noises.
Dark stuff.
And it was it scared off a lot of the bad boys, like AKA the bad boys that was raving in jungle at the time. They didn't like that sound. Like a lot of my friends, I was around people and they was just like, nah, man, I can't deal with that. Nah, like, you know what I mean? Because the jungle thing kicked off big, innit? And it was kicking off at Raves, but it was rammed, like everywhere was rammed. They was spying out the bars, and some of the raves were just like mad. Like you thought, what's this? Do you know what I mean? Because everyone was raving it. And then, I feel like 97, that was the time where I was like, what am I going to do? Yeah. What am I going to do? I need to get a job. I need to get a job because, like, that's what was going through my head. Like, am I going to have to go and get a job? Not into the fact of bookings, but I weren't really feeling the music, where it was going. Right. Like this dark thing, and it was just, and then the jungle thing was awkward to MC on, and I've already done the hosting thing. What am I going to do? Do you know what I mean? But that was just a moment. That was just a moment.
Like you skipped to 97. You was huge.
Yeah, but just at the beginning before that, there was a time, 6 months, maybe 3 months, 4 months. I just didn't know what to, like, where it was gonna go. Yeah, like I was saying today, it was a roller coaster. Yeah. Like I didn't know. Like, did I have that full confidence? It was just forming at that time. Things were just getting interesting, but I was still developing as an artist. And up until that time, I was freestyling loads, and there's a different Shabba to come after that. But who knows where the music was gonna go? But anyway, it brightened up. Then I think like Helicopter and all these things started coming out. We're around maybe remixes, and it was a fight back from the jump up, like, sort of vibe. And then 98, bro, Viva 98 and that sort of era there. And 99, I went Canada, I did Carnival, and that was it. Once I went Canada, that was it. Like for me, it was like, yeah, I'm in Europe now, big over there, massive in Canada, like massive, like big up my Canadian supporters and everyone over there that know, like we took that. I was going like 3, 4, 5 times a year after that. For a good like 4 years, do you know what I mean? 5 years. So I was planting the seed over there. But 99 was a year where, yeah, things were getting interested in football bars and, you know, everything was just going on. I love football and people was loving football and the connection of ravers and football. And so I was known for that, like my football chats and people used to, so I could see the craze.
Yeah.
And we're sort of skipping, aren't we?
You've skipped because I've got loads of pirate radio.
We can go back.
But you're excited, aren't you? Because you're thinking about these moments.
I'm just trying to, go. Maybe I'm going too fast.
Yeah, because it's interesting that you say though that like you think you've done this for so long, and you're open that actually, I've had periods where I might not have felt a certain wave or music, and I've had to think to myself, like, not many people would admit that, because everything, like, we've all done this so long, everything looks so rosy, but I respect that, mate. In my head, it's like, bam, it's always just pure vibes, but you've got to think, ain't you? Am I feeling what's going on here?
Like, there's been many a times, and then, like, you know, that was the first time for me, like, to say, like, wow, like, am I going to do this, or... Because remember, like, around that time, people have got things, you know what I mean? My friends have got stuff. Some people are working. Some people are, like, out there doing whatever they're doing. But they've got things, do you know what I mean? And I'm seeing things, you know what I mean? And I'm going up North London, I'm seeing a different... And I'm around the East London, I'm seeing things. So I'm like, that's what I mean. So it's like... But then, you know, Saturn just told me the music, man. And then when that started taking me out, like, and actually paying me, and I was earning a little wage, and I was happy, I had a family, and... You know what I mean? I was doing my thing, so I started at a young age, you know what I mean?
You did. Like, listen, like, there's so much to unpack with you, right? Like, through my head, he's like, how do you navigate yourself so young from, like, being, like, just some of the promoters you're saying, the areas, the era of the music, you know, people, especially the world that we was in, and you were so young, being surrounded by drugs, but being surrounded by, like, so all of us have played for promoters who are, like, lively, and
exactly.
all of the temptation that surrounds. How at such a young age do you navigate yourself through that?
Man. Good people around me, man. Good people around me. My dad's, you know, my mum, like, people, like, you know, at the time, friends as well.
Yeah.
Like, solid friends that I'm still friends with now, you know. People I've met on my journey, but a lot of love from that side of things. And it was like a breather for me because there was a lot going on in East. I love East London, do you know what I mean? That's my people, that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
But there was a lot going on. And North was a little bit different, do you know what I mean? It was a little bit more relaxed and different vibe. So I kind of just went with the vibe, and then got it, like I said, all the getting into trouble and all that got out of the way. And then it was just about vibes and music, and I just went with that. And as I've got older in life, I learn about energy as well. So at the time, I didn't know about it, but what makes you feel good makes you feel good, and what don't. Do you know what I mean?
Because it's easy to get surrounded by negativity with what we all do, and especially with the late nights, the weekends, the different. We meet so many characters in this that can be negative kind of energy or positive energy to us, and
we don't know about that as young. We just know good and bad. Like the people them say, don't hang around with him. He's no good. Or did you hear what he did? Do you know what I mean? Don't be hanging around with them. That's, you know what I mean. But you know, as you get older, you know what I mean. That wisdom comes with life, and you kind of know a little bit more. And even now, like, it's so much more, and that answers a lot of questions when you're younger. What you're looking for the answers, and as older you get them answers. It's nice as well because you get a little bit of sense in your head why you was doing certain things and what was happening. Do you know what I mean? So
I want to go back to pirate radio.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go back to Kool FM and that moving from the stations you were on into Kool.
Oh wow, that was a time.
And the influence of that moment and what that moment feels to you, and like how you see its importance for you, the artists you were working with, the DJs on Jungle and London culture, and eventually the UK and world?
Yeah, wow. So obviously all my friends and all my side of the fence, calling it like people I go out with, the ones I'm tight with, they're all on Weekend Rush. Weekend Rush now is like things are going on. People got other things going on in their life and it's affected the station. Do you know what I mean? So Weekend Rush is done. Then Kick FM kicks in, but people are still running it. You know, big up Vitamin, big up Michael, and big up like, you know, there's people running the station on that side. And then I'm loyal. I stuck with the man them. And I brought people up there, I brought guests up there, and I was doing it. But it just, Kool was pumping. Do you know, Super Sunday. You know, I held out. Shocking Flirt, they're gone. Everyone was going, do you know what I mean? And I kind of held out, you know, because I'm loyal, and I was kind of getting held in a little bit as well. Like, not guilt trip. It weren't no guilt trip back then. It was like, you're being told what to do.
Yeah.
And that's it, you know what I mean? And I don't know, they're my elders. Some people are 10, 15 years older than me. So it wasn't a bully thing. It was just like, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's rules, you know. Anyway, the time come and Smurf and Eastman, I used to see them out. I was doing New Jack City for Brett and Kenny. And I used to come out in the morning and they was always flying for their events and whatever. And I was always cool with East because I knew him from the flats. And Smurf and that, do you know what I mean? Because we all knew each other through Dicer, Vitamin, and we was all tight. So even though they was on their own stuff, they just approached me. They was like, what are you saying? I was like, bro, because I wanted to ask them, but I didn't have the bottle at one point because I was like, nah, like, yeah, it wasn't even that I didn't have the bottle. It just felt uncomfortable. I didn't know the situation, what it was going to be. So they kind of talked to me outside a rave. I never forget it. I come out and I took a fly and he was like, what are you saying, man? Really cool. And I was like, bruv, yeah, man, like, let's do it. And he was like, what, you want to show on Sunday? And I was like, no, Saturday, 1 till 2 with Probe. And I was like, yeah, bruv, let's do it. I was on Kick at the time and it was just mad. Like, it was falling apart as well. So I was like, I need to move, man. It was the time, you know what I mean? Everyone was over there. There was loads of people from Rush over there and it was a buzz. So I worked my way up. I did like 1 to 2 with Probe. I went on a few other shows. I was learning that things are totally different, professional, studios clean, good equipment. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, this is the place. And then, yeah, I finally got on Super Sunday as well and just started, mashing from there. That was like 96. I got on Kool.
Yeah.
I was late. To the party.
Right. And the buzz that you got from like the text, the music, I always just even now when people talk about it, it's like the cultural significance, the pioneering.
Well, you had Fever, and you had the office on Leabridge Road, and that was like a HQ. So I was from the flat, so every day I was in that office, every day learning how to mix, you know, running a zoot with a man, them, whatever, listening to dub plates, listening to record, you know, it was everything was going on there. So big up Eastman because he's a big part of this culture. For me anyway, and a lot of other men, I know that, but I will give man their flowers because I got nothing but love for Eastman and Susie and you know, I don't see people anymore, but when I was ill in hospital, Eastman come and visit me, like, you know, I got love in my heart for that brother, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Kool FM, massive part. And Weekend Rush, all them guys there, just as much, because they schooled me in the whole thing. They took me to my first rave. They educated me in this hardcore jungle thing. Yeah.
In that period, DJs, MCs, when you was on Kool, when you was on Telepathy, when you started going around the world, what DJs and MCs really inspired you and really give you the vibes to elevate yourself?
Well, like R.I.P. Stevie Hyper, obviously legend. Like there's loads of things going up because of the Hyper movie or whatever, of clips of us MCing together. And some people didn't even know that I got to MC, and it was a little while before man accepted me, man. Like literally, it was a little while, no doubt. I had to put my work in. I had to go to the training ground, which was wax every Friday. And I had to learn from the best, man, like in that department where I've still got that influence of reggae in me and people and loads of different things. But I was in the battlefield, man. You know what I mean? Trust me, it weren't pretty. But it got to a stage where I was mashing up the place. And And man was just giving me the mic, bruv. Like at first it weren't like that. I couldn't get the mic. There were certain times I was at Raves Roller Express, like, cause like you're forgetting, I know Goldie as well, so big up Goldie, like differently. So from Defection, so like back then, like when I got, man give me a reinforced shirt.
Right.
Are you crazy? A reinforced with the long arms. Like man, you couldn't even buy one if you wanted to. Like that was when Terminator come and all that. That was way early, but
yeah,
think of the rep what I've got and I'm wearing that and man. So them times there I was trying to grab the mic at them certain dances like Jungle Mania and you know there was a rave where MC and Rap done a wedding thing on the stage and all that. Them raves I was raving at. I couldn't get on the mic. Yeah. I was trying to, but it just weren't my time. The A-Team was there. There's certain people in there. Big up Navi, Moose, 5-0. It weren't my time yet, but when the Jungle Splash era come, the 94, 95, that's when I made my mark.
Yeah.
And then kind of like over the sick beats or whatever, some of them they even play now in the old school raves and they're killing it. So it was a different Shabba. So I think that elevated me and pushed me into the MC thing as well. Like, yeah.
Wicked. Mate, I love the stories of that era. I just love like what's inspired you and like the whole pirate radio thing.
Kool was like the radio every week. And that was a training ground as well. Like Skibadee, shocking, and that was when that was a little bit later. That's what I'm saying, skipping up again. But that was 96, 97, like we formed the SAS and then the whole SAS come with me, shocking and Skibadee. But that was, you know, around them, man, as well, and seeing man write lyrics, and it was different, you know what I mean? Because I was a freestyle man, but then it got to the stage around 96, 97, I had to get my pen out, mate. I had to get my pen and my pads out, and I've still got loads of my pads, like, full up with lyrics, just writing and, you know, learning from the best, because I didn't understand that. It was just all free, but I've got a good memory as well. Like,
you have got a good memory.
Yeah, I come up with things, and just, like, I've got that on my side, but, yeah, I mean, lyric-wise, I didn't take it seriously till I had to take it seriously. I was around real artists. First man I actually see was Top Buzz. I see him in the studio when I was on Kick FM, and he come to do a guest show, and he bought bare pads of lyrics. And I was like, what's this? Like, and he just started reading, because he was a radio, he was reading from the lyrics, and he was sick. I was like, bro, I need to be doing that. Even if I have to read like that, I need to get on my books.
Yeah, to perfect
so that inspired me. So big up Patrick, because like, there's loads of inspiration from different departments, you know what I mean?
Dan, I've got a question for you, right?
Go then.
Just my inquisitive mind. Like, whenever I watch sets or pirate radio sets from back in the day, or in the modern day, like, it's all shot so well and people do their, like their YouTube videos or go to radio stations. Like, when you're all passing the mic, I don't reckon anyone's ever asked you this before, right? And there's just like, when it's like your turn, and like you get that mic, like, and as a fan of you all, right, I'm just waiting for that energy of like, bam. What goes through your head when the other end done their 16, you get it, like, what is, and that mic comes to you so cool, and it's just like, bam.
Bruv, different stages, and if you asked me that 30 years ago, or you know, when I first got the mic from me, it was like, bro, like, I guess it's the same all around. You just don't want to slip up, make sure you're ready, and like come in with an impact in it. But at the same time, the main thing is timing.
Yeah.
I say it, timing. Like, if you're out of time as a DJ, or a DJ does a clang mix or whatever, you're going to hear it. Yeah. Like, as an MC, when I'm in a rave, I could walk in there, we could be together. I could have one earplug in, but I'm listening to the MC. I can hear the music. That's already processed, but I'm just listening to the MC. Yeah. Well, it might be a singer, whatever. I'm listening to timing. I'm listening to clarity. Do you know what I mean? So that's the main thing. Like, when you're going back to back with people, depending on who it is, because other MCs can raise your levels, that there's no room for mistakes. But back in the day, I used to overthink it, and then I'd end up making a mistake. Yeah. But I was so like, I was pissed off with myself for a couple of days, like, not even a couple of days, but just like, oh man, I don't want to listen to that set. I made a mistake on there.
Are you still like that? Are you still like that?
I'm a perfectionist, bruv. I make mistakes, but I'm kind of, everyone does, but nah, I swear, like, my life's changed, bruv.
Yeah,
like,
I beat myself up, Dan. If I do a slight mix that I'm not happy with, especially if I'm doing a vinyl set, I still beat myself up like I was at Helter Skelter in '98 and being recorded on a tape. Yeah. And even if I listen back to it and it's not as bad as I think, even now at 50, I'm like, oh, what are you doing?
Well, that's the thing. It comes with, like my sort of style as well, people don't really know what you're gonna get. They know what you're gonna get, but they don't know what you get. And that's kind of my thing as well. I have to say that, like, I'm always writing and I've got so much different lyrics from different eras. So even now, learning my bars is the main thing. It's always been the main thing. Like, writing them is not a problem for me. I get the vibes out. I made some killer tunes last night in the studio, just instantly, like, bam. So I'm quite quick now as well, but I think that comes with my lifestyle and what I'm doing and everything, because there's been times where you have a little cluster and you can't do that, or your brain's over, capacity or whatever, do you know what I mean? Or you're not really on your thing because you've got other shit going on in the background and you just want to just do your job. But it's not been like that for me. It's like sets, and I don't even listen to enough, probably, because every time I listen to a set, I'm like, that bar, oh my God, like, I need to bring that one back.
Yeah. How do you remember all
And I play games with myself, so nighttime, like, sometimes I'd be going to sleep and, I'm laying there and then a bar would come to my head and I won't go to sleep until I remember the whole lyric. And I'll be there for about 30 minutes sometimes, or even an hour, just trying to chat this lyric. Even my wife says to me, like, yeah, you're MCing in your sleep. And I'm like, but that's just sometimes, not every, like,
Yeah, DJs.
That's just occasion, like, that's mad, like, like, it's crazy. So I think learning my things, looking over my books, I'm extra sharper. But it's mind as well. Like, if you've got a clear mind and you've got things going on, you can remember stuff.
Right.
It's not impossible.
I've said this to Flinty and Demon Ragga Twins loads, right?
Yeah.
And DJs, I'm sorry, but this is about to offend some DJs, right? You've got a harder task than me as a DJ, right? Because you've got so much more. You've got so much more to remember, so much more to keep you fresh. There's so much going on with you. Me as a DJ, I'm just vibing from one tune to the next. If I want to play it for 3 minutes or 2 minutes, I will. If I want to let it roll out for 5 or 6 minutes, I will. And I know I'm going to get stick in the comments, but I view what you're doing. You need to be practiced more. You need to be on point more. There's something. I'm not being disposable about what I do of just playing one record after the next, but there's a different level. And you're out on front, and you put a lot of energy into it. Yeah, I think that you just, as I've got older with experience, it's probably about like where to do what at what time and what you're gonna do at the right time, I guess. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? In terms of that, like, knowing what to do at the right time, and that's just important. Like, you could have he's going into military war, you got rocket launchers, you got grenades, you don't want to fire them all at once. I love that. And that man's coming with his, and then you've got to fight with a water pistol, So you got to know. Love it. You got to have the right, balance to it as well, because you got to respect the scene and the way the scene is, and it's not all about a station, but the MC-led events, like we did an MC set for Logan's thing, that was mad, like, vibes like that people want as well, like, everyone's just busting it, and then it goes into a bars thing, and then you don't really get a lot of that lately, only at certain events. But back in the day, again, like, a lot of them raves are coming back, and people want that. They want the energy. It's a vibe. It's not about the lyrics and the MC's trying to, say, oh, we're stealing the show. It's just vibes. People love vibes. Whether it's like, I can go into a rave and there'd be no MC and the DJ's killing it, and it's still vibes. You can bubble and do your thing. So you got to respect the scene and the way that things are. But as an artist as well, you want to express yourself. You want to be yourself. I do. Yeah. So I think what I've done quite good, because I've always been able to be myself in what I'm doing. I'm not trying to fit in just to please other people. And that's, as I've got older, I want to be around people that respect me and I'm in the right zone. Yeah. Finding your own lane is important. It's well important. And you know what? We are so far down the line now. We're not in Shabba D's on Kool, he's got to be a junglist MC. Yeah. You've grown through all of these eras and scenes in the same way as me as a DJ have grown through so many things. So there's so many vibes and energies that we can draw on. So you know when you're going to be on with 2 or 3 other MCs, and it's going to be. We play to different age groups as well. This is the thing. You've got 50-year-olds who love you for being who you was in 95, 96, but then you've got 18 to 25-year-olds who want to hear you on the latest music. They learn the history, so they go back on the tapes and they're like, wow, this is that. And then people get into the music, they get into the culture.
You know, they can go on YouTube, you can Google, you can see this and that, and people see and believe what they want.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can see something and believe anything you want.
Yeah.
But the journey is mad. The journey is crazy. It's good vibes. And for me personally, like I've always said it's a marathon. It's not a 100-meter sprint. So that's what it is, the new culture, and that's what we was talking about earlier. Like that's what keeps me interested in this thing, because I do a lot of different events. Like in between all that talk, what we just had, there was a whole Iron Appa MC convention, highly blessed, you know, and made a big mark for the MCs at a very vital time where MCs that I said, I'll go back to the 97 thing, did I want to get a job or whatever. Yeah, the MC convention can come before that, but then that dark side come later. But before that was crazy. Like we literally put MCs on the map.
Yeah.
Like we just did flyers with MCs. We changed from 2 hours to 1 hour. Loads were going on. Like we can flick back and, you know what I mean? So I think the learning about the scene and the MCs is important, but respecting everything at the same time and elevating it. Yeah.
See that era there, right? Going back to like you coming out of the mid-90s, Jungle, then finding out, like realising what vibe you want to go to, and you're mentioning all the latter 90s going abroad and everything, and then like the MC conventions. And you get a lot of MCs from grime, garage, like real like pivotal people, real pioneering people.
Yeah.
They check you and they check Skibba and they check Hyper D, like names that like many have crossed into the top 40, many who have pioneered their own scenes. How does that make you feel when like such talent from other genres younger than you go?
No, it's the. I mean, people ask me like, because I think there's only certain people that planted that scene planted the seed in that scene. So like when I went to Iron Apple, we was the only ones running Jungle, and that's when I met a lot of them guys really for the first time, because I knew them from younger. Yeah. But when you see people blow up, you don't know who's who. But I knew a lot of people from East anyway. Like I said earlier, I know a lot of people, so I was going East and linked Terror. Terror had all the grind boys, you know, Dirty Dogs, you know, D Double, you know. I met Devil Man later, loads of man earlier. Do you know what I mean? But then it was crazy because, like, then you hear people like Skepta and loads of, you know, Wileys and all that. They was kind of people that we knew, but the Skeptas and all that blew up later. But they still raved to Jungle. Like, they had the Jungle thing, and that's where it all come from. I think Iron Apple was the main place where I met Mega Man, and when they had their main thing going on the Soul Solid, and they just looked after us, man. It was like, bro, you're legends. And it was kind of like realizing, well, we kind of inspired all these, man. As well, so the love was always there. But I planted that seed, me, Skibs, R.I.P. Skibba, and yeah, we planted that seed in Andet as well, like in that sort of field of the house raves, doing a one Jungle set, and that's like even now that's come to affect loads because they're still mashing it up, and there's a bigger whole scene in that where people recognise us from back in the day. So yeah, it's just nothing but love. Like it's where the different events kick in, and that's where it really elevated from. I think everyone just used to rave to Jungle because there weren't loads of music back in the day. Yeah. So the Jungle inspired so many people, hardcore Jungle. Whether I think it was a little bit later, probably at the Jungle days, 94, 95.
No, you've inspired so many people. Like over the years, the sheer amount of like people who have gone on to be like megastars. Like it must be humbling, and it must be like a little proud moment. Going, wow.
Some people was even my drivers, bruv, that are big artists, celebrities, and that's crazy. Like they just come out with me, and you know, and I've got respect for all of them guys. I see them, you know, even DT. Like, DT's my boy. Like, he used to come out with me. And, like, he blew up. He had a #1 track on the Garage thing. And then, like, I've always kept that implant with them as well. So I know people from that scene, you know, PSG, CKP. You know, I met P properly through Ron. And I knew man from back in the day. So I think it's just building bridges and not burning them. Yeah. That's key, innit? You know what I mean? Yeah. Talent is talent. And you know, knowing people's whatever, but, you know, I think building them bridges is just as important. And you can't please everyone, I get that at the same time, but just be nice, man, you know what I mean? Just build relationships. Yeah. Anyone watching it that wants inspiration, that's what you really do, you know what I mean? Because you never know what's around the corner and what promoter's going to pop up or help you out when
Help
you really
out.
need it.
Do you know what's a buzz, Dan? Is like when we get to this stage, or even then, like you're saying, going to Iron Napa and playing at Garage or House Reds, it's such a good feeling when you know that you're known for something, or you come from one genre, as it were, you know, but other worlds accept you. That's, for me, that's more important than money. That's more important. Like, it's such a buzz when you know you can do something and go and influence and entertain different crowds.
I'm laughing because when you said that question, I remember like I've done a good few raves over the years, and I've walked in the place, and I'm like,
I know what you're going to say.
This is not going to go off. Like, what is going to happen here? Like, this is mad. Like literally, like a lot. There's been more than 10, but there's been a few where I'm just thinking, bro,
sure.
like, you got to be fearless.
Yeah.
Like, in this thing, you got to be fearless. I'm fearless, like, literally, when it comes to that. So, and I've done things recently where it's literally like a Stone Love reggae concert. I've got in there and I'm like, these people, and played one jungle tune, and it's totally different music. It's a house event, and the place just turned upside down.
Yeah.
And then lyrics and everything, and had the crowd screaming, and I'm like, man, put Wolf on or Pulp Fiction, and it's just straight up vibes. And like, but before that, I was kind of nervous before I'm getting. I'm like, right, is this gonna go? But
because we do get nervous.
Go on
still.
autopilot.
Yeah,
you know
we do. Like, I get gigs like whether it's a heritage house event or an event, and I walk
Different
in
event,
and I think. They're not going to like me here, are they? And you do, like, no matter how many times we've done this, and then the adrenaline kicks in, you puff out your chest a little bit, and then it's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, the other stuff, you just thought, you go on autopilot, don't you? You're just like, just block out everything. But yeah, it makes it exciting. But like I say, like, now as things, I look at events and in a different way, like, where before I was just doing anything and anything. Like, I do work for probably like anyone, but I've got a life as well and a balance to it, you know what I mean? So it's a crazy amount of bookings in one day, or too far, or, how the thing goes. But before, you just want to say, I'll do this.
When you're younger,
you got to think about things when you're a little bit older, and, check in with the boss, you know what I mean? Make sure things are nice at home as well, because that's just as important.
Yeah, that fascinates me about you, like in recent years, which I was talking to you and your wife about, is like just your output of like lyrics, music, energy is so high, but like your life and the way you talk about your personal life and going away and looking after your mind and growing and like growing really kind of like positively and thoughtfully. Like, I love that. Like, the amount of times I've said to you on the internet, like, because all of us scroll down the internet and we just love seeing people, our peers,
big up.
like doing like not like different nice things. Things is the way, and I see it and I'm just like,
big up, man.
He inspires me, mate. Like
I'll be honest with you, like, I've had good energy, man, from that as well. Like, I have people that say nothing, or people are just like, I have a few fans come up to me and say, listen, what you're doing is inspiring, and they're watching the journey, but, it's different for me. Like I say, like, I'm not doing it to do that. I'm just putting out that, when my socials are Shabba Dan, and it's Daniel and it's Shabba.
Yeah.
So, I'm the same person, but I got two different lives, So I balance it, and, there's been times when I weren't happy at home, and, and I just want to be out all the time and away, and, do you know what I mean? And now it's a little bit the other way.
Yeah.
I like being indoors. I like being at home as well. And I love my job and I love my music. And the balance is right, like keeping it right as well,
Do you think, like, being more grounded at this point in your life, and we're going forward now, but do you think being grounded and having a different perception of like your character and how, like, has made you better a performer, has made you like
1,000%,
more focused on it?
1,000%, because there's things back in the day, like, you're going through stuff when you got energy as a kid, and you go through different things, and it comes with age as well. As you get older, you get more experience, and you want to take less bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just, I know my old man, me and him talk, he's like a mentor to me, you know what I mean? So, like, just seeing the energy from older friends as well. Like I said, I've always hung about with older people. I've got younger friends as well, but mainly older people, and we still talk. I've got friends I can talk wisdom to and have a different conversation, you know. Not too deep, because we don't go deep anymore like that, but just about life and just learn things, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that what I'm putting out is a good thing. It's good vibes, and it's finding that balance as well. And that's not easy, because, like I say,
we live a mad life.
Things, and you learn things as you get older. So you got to take that in, like, really, for the youngers as well. You got to learn things yourself. Yeah. Like, people can tell you things or whatever and say, yeah, don't do this, but you got to it makes you the person you are today. And I've changed my life, like, eight years ago. I made a change for myself, not in terms of anything else, but I just stopped doing certain things and stopped, how can I say, I stopped just indulging with the wrong people and just, like, you know, energy drainers. And I'm learning about loads of things, but at that time I didn't realize. I just wanted to make a change. Yeah. I was happy and I weren't happy, you know what I mean? Like, certain things in work's going good or whatever, but at home things ain't going great. And I've been through loads in the background as well, like loads more that, you know, it's just crazy. But it's made me the person I am today, and losing people as well, Skibs and my nan and Storming and loads of people that I know.
Because we're not getting any younger, are we?
No.
And even though we do something that keeps us so young at heart, because it takes us back to our teens, like when we were
100%.
making, and so we live this life and do this thing that is based on nostalgia, right? Whether it's new music, old music. So we're always young at heart because we go out there and do something that keeps us young at heart. But we are getting older. Yeah. We're losing family. We're losing close friends. Yeah. And for me, like, what I get from you is like a spirituality of where you're at now.
Yeah. And I've always been that. I've always been a spiritual person. I've always liked crystals, and I've always believed in a higher power. Yeah. I've never gone church or nothing like that. I'm not saying I don't believe in that. Of course I believe in God. I believe in the power of the universe. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, growing up, like, I weren't really a religious person, but I knew there was a higher power, and I've learned about that. I've studied it, and I'm into it. I'm into green space. I'm into, like, natural things. I go fishing. I love fishing. That balances me. I don't go enough. Lately, I'm going to get on it more. But yeah, I mean, the fishing thing I love. I've always loved that from when I was a kid, and I left that and then picked it back up later on, you know what I mean? So, and then just, like, I'm into meditation. I've been to, like, when I met my wife, we both went on a journey together, you know what I mean? And we started to do, like, she introduced me to things like Reiki and sound baths, and the way it made me feel, like, I learned about it more. There's questions I want to ask, and it gave me answers, and then I learned more about it. Like, it clears a lot of stuff. It's cellular, you know. It could work for you. Try it. You know what I mean? It could work for anyone.
The other day when I was talking to you and your wife, I thought, I want to get your wife on the podcast as well. Like,
yeah, it's mad because it's like, it's very, like, hippie. Some of the places we went was hippie and it was all that, but I like all that. Yeah. And I was like, you know, it doesn't matter about the surroundings or this and that. It was the way it made me feel. Yeah. And I just felt comfortable. And then I realized that sound is a big part of us, and it, you know, it clears a lot of stuff cellular. So meditation was good for your mind, and then the gym is obviously good for your pumping you up and making you feel energized. But this stuff's deeper; it goes deeper than that, and it clears stuff that's blocked. Because a lot of people are carrying stuff that's blocked, and they don't, you know, in one way or another, whether it's a trauma, bad relationships, upbringing, whatever you've seen and been through, and this stuff helps that. So I learned about that, and then I started meditating, and it's just nothing but positive. I've always been a positive person, that's the thing. But if you indulge negative energy or around people with negative things, it can rub off on you.
It can rub, you know, what I mean? Rub
you
off
can be a sponge when you're younger as well a lot. But to be the person I have, and I know that my heart's clean, and I've got a big heart, so I've always wanted to help people in my own way, whether it's bring man through on the mic, whether it's give people things or help people connect with people, you know, so I've always been that sort of, so this is just like another journey for me, but I've meditated now almost 3 years, like every day. I've not, like, I'm brushing my teeth, I won't leave the house until I meditate.
I love
and it's just 20 minutes, and I could do more and loads more, and I will. And every day I'm working on myself and my family, you know what I mean? We're working on ourselves.
Do you know what I love? I love, like, the energy that people get from you, from your talent, from, like, your lyricism, your hype in the crowd, like, and just the nature of that energy. But now in recent times, like, your wife, your family.
Yeah. I got
Tell me the
another family
importance.
on that. Yeah, man.
It's so different. Like your stage energy is so different to how you like your personal life. Explain the importance of a good woman and your family.
Yeah, massive. Like for me, and I made certain decisions before I met her to change my life around, and I think that connected us as well. But yeah, I think this brother's just amazing. Like I've been married almost 2 years, and I'm happy. And there's things that's going on in my life that could make me sad. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just grateful every day. I'm gratitude, and we're just growing, and that's it. That's what it's about in life. You know what I mean? And just spreading love, man. That's all we do. Like you know what I mean? And so it's different. Like. You know, because I've been in toxic relationships, bro. Do you know what I mean? And it's deep. Do you know what I mean? So that can affect you as a person and an artist. So, you know, and I don't like arguing. I don't like confrontation. I'm not into it. Like it's less bullshit. Yeah. But you know, we can all do that, and it's easy sucked up. But the positive thing, and that it's just great, bro. Like. And I'm learning as well. I'm still learning and shaping myself every day to become a better person. Yeah. And that's the difference. Not to think you're there, you know what I mean? Because you're not, you know what I mean? Like, no disrespect, but we all need to learn, and we all need to...
Yeah, there's more for us to do on ourselves and our relationships.
But in a good way. Like, people should be happy to do that. Have some direction, some purpose, some progression in one way or another. If it's not in your business, in your personal life, and then you start feeling a little bit better about yourself in certain situations, and then you can spread that energy to other people. Yeah. Not before that, or trying to act or do this or do that. No way. Like, no matter what, I get frustrated. I'm a human being. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone does, but it's the way you deal with things.
Yeah, because sometimes, Dan, it's easier to, like as we get older and we study friends or family or people who might come into our world with a negative energy or something they don't like. Sometimes I've always felt that it's easier for people to be negative, like a cop-out, when you start putting gratitude or appreciation or stepping back and being a bit more like, actually, let me look at this from a positive
and
point
being a bigger person.
It changes your life and changes the situation. And it's not always easy to be like that. It's easier to go the negative way and be like, well, all right then, come on, I'll have a with you on the phone.
Argue.
It's easier to do that.
Blame. It goes round in a circle, and then you blame him, but you're not blaming yourself. Yeah. Like, you're not looking at yourself, or you're judging other people, and you're not watching what's going on in your lane. Yeah. And that's important. Like, I've learned from things as well. Like, say less, man. Put out more good energy, you know. And when I'm ready to talk, of course I'll talk, because I can look anyone in the eye. I'm not ashamed of what I've done or what I do. You get me? It's made me the person I am today. Like, I love my fans because they're loyal. I love the music, and I'm just about good energy. And I want anyone to do good in life. Yeah. Like, I don't care if you're doing better than me, so-called this and that or whatever. I think, but make sure you got the balance. Yeah. That's what I would say, because it's like I say, it's a marathon. It's not a 100-meter sprint for me anyway. Like, whether it is for some other artists and they're going for that gold. For me, it's just always about good vibes, good energy. Put out, and I think you get what you put back and what you think. Yeah. What you think all the time, because like, it's easy to just have negative thoughts. But I think with this meditation, it puts up a barrier, and then they go ping, 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 ping. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it is, and less bullshit. Like, before you just entertain phone calls, and they're draining you, man. You come off that phone, you feel drained, like 5 minutes. But then I can have another call with my mate for 45. And we're like, I didn't want to come off the phone. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, this conversation now. You know what I mean?
When I left this morning to meet you, right? So my phone was blowing up, right? So we've obviously got an event in a few weeks in Corfu with, say, 100 artists.
That's going to be massive,
like 100 artists and staff. Then I've got people who like you've got the people who book you and certain things, and then you have your people who are like, this needs doing, no.
Your phone it's like, going crazy.
Your phone's going nuts, mine. Like, and I'm just focused on me and you talking, right? But all of a sudden, one message comes up, and it's someone with the idea for an album, and I'm literally walking down the street, and I'm like, oh, I like this one. Yeah. And I'm like, mate, I really like this idea. I've been ignoring everyone all morning, but I'm feeling this energy of like what you're doing. And it is interesting when we get older that like there's points where we will respond to all 50 messages, good or bad.
Yeah. Like that's just no doubt. Like it's not even about. I just think that, like, I'll be honest with you, bro. My phone ring is not on unless I'm at my house and my wife needs to get hold of me or whatever. Like I just don't even look at my phone. Is just like when I want to look at it. If I want to scroll for 2 hours, I will.
Yeah.
But I won't. But I'm saying like if you know, and then like obviously business, and I'm away. I got my phone on. When I'm at home, my phone's just. It's just there, man. It's just whatever. I just use it as I want to. I'll put it in the other room.
Yeah.
I'll phone my friend back later. That's how I move. And I always text my friends back 10 minutes later. It's when I'm ready. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, there's times, obviously, I need my phone and I'm doing things. Everything's on there. But some things just like fling you off. And if you want to focus, and then, I get that time as well. I have to just charge my batteries as well because the energy don't come easy.
Yeah.
So eating good food and changing my diet, all the things that it's not exciting, you know, but, you got to do things and try vegan food, but why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why not? Because, like, we're living in a time where it's all about change as well. The world never stops moving and revolving, so you got to change. You can't be stagnant, you know what I mean? I check friends from 20 years ago, they're on the same thing. I love them, but that's why I haven't lost friends and I've outgrown them in a man way and being a big man saying that, like, I love them all, but we just outgrown each other, man.
We have a lot at our age. We have a lot to. When I say our age, I mean like give or take a few years, 50.
Yeah.
Our age.
When you say that, it's scary, man.
Right?
We're all living in our 30s, innit, and 40s, like.
We do this thing that makes us feel young, but the world does change around us, like the way like certain friends, they just end up with a completely different viewpoint to you, or in our professional careers, the music changes, or trends, or fashions, or now
it all goes crazy. It all goes crazy.
The mad thing is, like, especially when you're as energetic as you as a performer on the stage, or me with my sets. So not only do we have that energy at the weekend, like. How do you cope with this? Like when on
I got a busy weekend this weekend. I got like 8 gigs or something. Like it's mad. It's the first proper week of festival season starting or whatever. So, I mean, there's a lot of people away on other things or whatever. So that I had quite a lot of work this week. Probably the first weekend of the year where I've done that amount of gigs. Definitely, like it's mad. It's the first mad week, but grateful and just preparing all my stuff. Getting I've become my wife's. Chipped me into shape, so I'm organised now. I'm on time. I turned up on time.
He was on time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not late, bro. I wake up every day early, and I've got a routine in my life as well as all this going on. Where before I never had no routine. So, shout out to the wifey every time, and it's just a routine. And having that is more organised. I need to still be much more organised. Like there's loads of things I need to do, but I'm chipping away. Yeah. And that's one thing. Like I had loads of stuff to sort out, and I've sorted them out bit by bit. So
do you ever beat yourself up if you ain't completely organised as much as you want to be?
No, my wife will.
Yeah.
No, she don't. She puts me into shape, but she tells me, and you know what? Some things like take a little while to process. But then I realised, wow, that's the easy way. But I'm learning as well. I'm old school, bruv. Like, that's what I'm saying. I am old school as well. Like, people think, So I've got old school ways, and snapping out of them ways is hard, but you have to change and better in yourself. And that's what I'm saying. Things all come together. When I started to do the meditation thing, I go back on it again because it helped me so much just to get things in. Because I get that, even if it's 20 minutes, but I'm thinking of the things I need to do. I'm sending out love, and I'm getting that back, and opportunities are coming. So, and that's what it is. It's just knowing the right ones and when to move at the right time to make things run nice. You know what I mean? Like happy home, happy
everything.
You know that, bro. Like,
everything.
You're arguing at home and you're on some mad thing. Like when you're going out, you're not in the right space. Someone says the wrong thing to you. Do you know what I mean? So we don't carry that energy. So it's like, everything else is just like positive and being focused, and it's nice. It's nice. But I've got loads more work to do, and I'm working every day. Like people say lazy. No, I'm not lazy because I travel a lot and I do so much shit, and I have to preserve my energy as well. And I could be doing a lot more, and I will. Like best of Shabba music's coming, no doubt.
Yeah.
And the best stuff that I haven't even released, because what I've released over the years would probably just be part of the portfolio. Yeah. But what's really coming is gonna blow people's minds, and that's what I'm dealing with.
I want to go back to drum and bass, right?
Yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s was a huge turning point for drum and bass, wasn't it? Like what raves of that time, like, because Sanctuary was still going. You saying you were going like abroad, loads and
Yeah,
loads and
loads,
loads. What
loads.
raves can you remember? What's the energy of like that late
2000,
90s, early 2000s?
I got on actually like World Dance, like they was making a thing. They did a massive Millennium party, and I got on that, and that was massive back then because I was something I grew up on, and I never been on there. So
Right.
big up Jay and all them lot. So we did that, and then Sanctuary, Milton Keynes, slamming vinyl.
Everyone loves Sanctuary
come on,
stories,
man. What was
didn't
the
they?
other one? United Dance and all that. They was doing that, weren't they? One Nation, Terry Turbos, things are smashing it like everywhere, like 98, 99, 2000, 2001. And then we started convention in it, 2001. So that was like the biggest thing on the block.
Yeah.
We did Stratford Rex on New Year's Day and got like 2,500. There was massive events though, like loads. And then like things were blowing up abroad. I was doing things in Canada with like 10,000 people. Next Junction Raves.
Did you just go to Japan as
yeah,
well?
I did. So that's another whole story. So I was in a band as well in between all that.
Was it
yeah.
like I remember.
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
punk
tell
rock
us about the
band.
punk
Yeah.
band. I was going to,
Yeah.
yes, tell us about the
So
band.
around all this time, what I just explained everything, all the different areas. I recorded. My dad, obviously, I said my dad was a part of, the Sex Pistols. So he had some links in the music. And one guy, Ray McVeigh's friend that used to be the bass player bass guitar player in the, not Simply Red, one of the bands anyway, Simple Minds.
Right.
So yeah, he called me up and he said he wanted a rapper, an English rapper. So my dad put me onto him. He knew I was doing some stuff. But it was around the time I was just blowing. I think it was about 94, 95. So he's like, go to the West End, meet this guy. He's going to sort you out some readies. Go and do a rap for him. So I was like, all right, cool. I went down to West End. I didn't know what to expect. I went down to Soho. I met these people. There was like a little audience of Japanese people. And there was this guy, and he was like, can you do some freestyles on a beat? And he put some beat on. Like, he was just playing bass and a thing on it and a thing. And then I just started rapping, all the different places, saying all the countries or whatever there. It was like, oh, clap me anyway. He caught some recordings and he was like, and then that was it. I got 500 quid and that was a lot of money. Like, I'll never forget it. I had 5 bills. I was like, what? I went straight to the Stone Island shop and I bought a Stone Island outfit. It was like 380 quid. And I was like, I always wanted a Stone Island and I just bought it. And I was just like, I'm happy. I was, the money for a little draw or whatever, do you know what I mean? And, money was like that back in the day. So I was happy anyway, bigged up my dad. And then, about 2 weeks later, I got a call saying, bruv, like, we loved your stuff and the people are really happy and we want you to feature on these records. And this was all new to me. So I was like, okay, you tell me what to do or whatever. Anyway, cut a long story short, I went out to Malta. I just had my son at the time and brought my family out to Malta, stayed with this guy. He was living in a castle out there, massive car, like some next level. So I went in there, recorded for a week, laid loads of stuff, like we was just working every day on some things, writing lyrics and whatever. And he took his thing and then he went off. And I was like, what's going to go on there? He's like, I'll be in touch and, your dad and whatever, so don't worry. So then I left it and then about 6 months later, he's like, bro, you need like, the shit's gone mad. Like the Japanese love it. And it's part of this thing and it fits really great. And we've got you on 4 or 5 tunes, but we need to get you to LA to record these parts in a big studio in LA. So I was like, wow, like, yeah. Like, but I got all these jungle things going on. So I was like, how's it going to work? So I made it work, flying first class to LA, go out there. It was my 21st birthday. I never forget it. And then, recorded, met Cypress Hill on my birthday, because on the album they had like big artists. I was trying to get Eminem, but he blew at that time.
Right.
Drake's got him and whatever. So they got Little Kim, they got Duffy from Guns N' Roses, is like my dad's people as well. And they had like a collab of different artists, and they had like Cypress Hill, Sendog, Mellow Man, Ace, Be Real.
Big
so I was in the studio with them, and I was literally 5 doors away from Rod Stewart. He was in the same studio recording. So it was like a big thing right in like LA, downtown LA. So I went there. I was staying over there for a couple of weeks, recorded the stuff. I'm like, wow, I'm in Hollywood. I'm seeing snakes and shit, coyotes. I'm like, what's going on? And I loved it, man. I did like I went missing over there. I went raving. I made some connections with Fearless and Bad Company, and Bad Company was over there. So I went to link them in LA when they was playing. I just turned up there. And I MC'd, I got a wage from the promoter. Like, he was like, Shabba D, man, you're in like LA. I was like, whoa, this is mad. Anyway, did the whole band thing. The tunes went mad in Japan. Like, it was the #1 band, Zilch 53210. You can check it out on the net. It's like we did a tour of Japan, Firewire, 16 cities must burn, WWF wrestlers, like massive, like stadium, 60,000 people, a whole tour of, Osaka, Fukuoka, Tokyo, everywhere in Japan we went. Sapporo. Yeah, so like, I learned about the band, cut a long story short. The guy that used to run the band, he was like, there was loads of members, but one of the members passed away. His name was Hide. He's like Michael Jackson in Japan. So he was like a superstar, and like, it's like an honor to take your life in their culture. And he hanged himself. There was some mad shit, like R.I.P. Hide. But yeah, they had dolls of him and like thousands of people at his funeral. Anyway, we kind of went over there. I didn't know the story until later, but the reason they got everyone involved in the band was to fill his album.
Right.
He only completed 5 or 6 tracks, and we needed another 5, 6 tracks, but they collabed it. So we didn't know what was going on, but we got flung into the deep end of like all the fans crying at the shows and all that. It was so deep, bro.
Fascinating.
Because we was part of that, like we become superstars. Like they made us front cover, like big screen in Japan. Like it was mad. And a couple of the members were superstars. I had a guy called Jay. He was from a leading band. He was a next superstar. He was massive, like, and I was learning all this shit. And coming to the airport, bro, I had like 200, 300 fans at the airport waiting for me to get off the plane, bro. Like, it was mad. It was like, oh, bro, what's going on? What's going on? Anyway, did all that, bro, and just like, it was I loved it, the energy. And there's videos where man say, what, is that you in that thing? Like, I'm doing stage dives and all that, crazy. But it was very satanic. And very dark. Like, I was young, and I got homesick. I traveled for long. I had a family, and I got well homesick, man. I don't eat fish, so in Japan everything was fish every day, and I was just living on like Korean barbecue and Subway. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't eat none of the things over there, and so I was missing home, and I loved it. But then I see some dark side of the punk rock thing, and it was very sex, drugs, rock and roll, and it was a bit too, at that age, it was a lot. People was cutting themselves and on stage, and it was people smashing up equipment, like it was getting but it was wicked vibes, but it was all older people. So after a amount of time, I started to get a little bit homesick, and I was missing home. I had a life at home, like with my jungle thing, with my family. So it was deep, but I had a choice. A time come where it would go left or right. I could got signed by Sony and Avex to do a solo thing, because I was killing it, bro. Like they was dressing me up in different things and I just wanted to be myself. And as soon as I become myself and wore a white suit with my darkers and all that, like I stood out. I was doing a solo part at the beginning of the tour, and it was getting massive. But then the jungle thing was blowing up. So all that I was talking about, it was all going on, and that's where my heart was. Like, I must have seen Longevity and I could have got a big deal, like, but what it is, like, that was a bit sore for me as well, because I learned about the music game, and I kind of signed things away I shouldn't have signed, and I did things at a young age, and even my dad's, like, still dealing with stuff for me from that, and that's years later, like, I could have been more smart if I knew about the game at an early age, and my dad kind of just put me in there, but he was at the music for years as well, so all things changed, you know what I mean? So it was like, you know how the game goes. It's a cutthroat industry. So, signing rights away where I shouldn't have, my writers' rights and certain things. It was the difference of getting $4,000 to $40,000, like in checks. Do you know what I mean? So it was a lot of money back then. But then I got a lot of money for touring, so it balanced it. Yeah. And I was getting looked after, and that's all I knew.
Did you look after your money at that age?
I was just living life, bro. I had a family. I did things, and it was just going, bro. I was going on holidays and doing things and living life, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I always had like, I could be much better and much more sensible, because my friends were going buying houses.
I wasn't sensible at all.
Yeah,
mate.
None of us was younger.
I was way too young.
You lived though, right? You lived.
Come on, look at the story you've just told.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So it's a different thing. So I know people that's gone on and bought houses at 21. And had houses and properties, and then lockdown come and they lost everything. Yeah. So it's different ways.
Swings and roundabouts.
It's swings and roundabouts. There's enough to say you shouldn't save and look after your money and do things, because obviously you get more sensible as you're older. Yeah. And you don't like the fact of not having nothing or not being able to get what you want to get. Yeah. So there's limits and whatever. But cool, so back that then, because there was a lot of money. I was just doing, living life, doing what I can, you know.
Dan, I think that like just your talents, whether it's musical talents, your football talents until you had your accident and that, you're just one of them people who's gifted. So punk rock band, bam, tour all over Japan.
It just
Jungle music, bam.
Yeah,
Learn how to mix on the decks and do pirate radio, bam. Football, bam. Like,
nah, I appreciate you saying that, but I think you just
that,
gotta follow your heart and what you love. Like when I go fishing, I'm not the best. I love it, and I'm learning more. And I go with man that are really experienced anglers, and I cannot do certain things, but I'm learning. And that's the thing. Like, sit me around it for a long. Like last night, I was around very talented people. I went studio, come out with a banger.
Yeah.
Like I could go studio and be around someone that ain't less talented or whatever, and it would be like more on me to do it and not come out because the right. So I feel like it's being around the right people as well and the right energies as well. But for yourself, just being trying to inspire people in different ways. And I'm definitely a leader. I'm not a follower.
Yeah.
I've never been a follower, and I never will be.
Because I've always said, like, there's people who I meet in our world, right?
Yeah.
So look, you're the perfect person for this, where I see people with their talents and their energy, and I'll go, that person, no matter what they did, they would be big in it. No matter what they did, whether it was off in property, whether it was off in pop music, whether it was off in underground jungle or acid house, no matter what. We have people in our lives who, no matter what they do, they do. But they come back to, like, so in your case, you could have been a huge punk rock star,
it wasn't
was on that cusp, right?
Yeah,
but
football as well. Like, I was on the cuff. Like, I know people that's made it and gone on and smashed it. Like, I was around the right academies.
Yeah.
I had the right people. I played for the best team in the county, Wadham. We won everything. Yeah. I was in the newspaper. Like, I had the sweetest left foot. Yeah. I love football, bruv. And I started smoking as well at a young age, but that never used to affect me in my football. My football was like everything, like Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Tuesday, football. School, football, everyday football. Yeah. Learning new skills, watching football videos. I grew up on that. So that was my dream, innit, to be a baller. But then I started playing as well. Like, after all that, I knew I wasn't going to make it. I still played because I loved it. Yeah. And I started getting injured. Every time I played, knees going. As I got older, do you know what I mean? So I had to call it a day, you know? But that was my dream as well. Music, football, because what else do you know as a kid?
Yeah,
like,
I guess, do you know what my thing is like so many different realms of like could have had you, sport, other musics. And it's jungle and drum and bass that has been. Yeah,
do you know what as well? My initials is DB, so it's crazy. Like, it's actually DJB. Right. So it's mad. Like, DnB is in my DNA, innit? Like, you know, and the jungle thing, obviously, it's just an era of the music. Even hardcore, I can say, right back to early hardcore. That's just been inputted into me, and I've always loved it. And I've been a big defender of the music as well as an MC, even for DJs, for everybody, for promoters, for ravers. I've flied the flag.
Oh, 100%.
In so much different places where people are dissing it, and there's been so much different talk, but I've always just like stuck by it. Even my friends that don't like it, like, they're like, turn that shit. I'm like, listen, mate, turn it up.
Yeah.
Like,
did you ever think it would last this long?
Nah, honestly, I feel there's a lot more to come, man. And the scene's just growing all the time, innit? And it's, of course, not like the way it is, but then again, it was something special. It was a movement. But nah, like, when you look at dubstep and you look at other musics, like even techno's massive. You go like Europe and all that, like, you could never diss that. That's massive music. Yeah. Like, you go America, they don't want to hear drum and bass certain places. It's only now it's getting big, but I went over there. I've been over there 20, 30 times as a solo artist going over there. And I learned a lot of shit. And then the house, deep house, and there's loads of different styles to music. But jungle is something special. Drum and bass, it's got a foundation, and the way it's built, and the music that was put, the ingredients into the music from back in the day is just stemmed. And there is a lot in any music. There's good and bad music, isn't there, that DJs are not going to like or not going to feel. And I feel with drum and bass, you've got so much. There's a lot of throwaway music, don't get me wrong, but there's also tunes that get played 30 years later that just sound like they've just been made, bruv.
Yeah, I like as a fan, like me as a fan of music, right? Take off and like someone who's just like, even if I'm not involved with a genre or close to it like that, but just like I've always been here doing this thing. As an outsider looking in, when I see all of the variant of events, whether it's like for younger people, older people, holidays abroad, like massive worried about Henry events for 10, 20,000 people. Like as a fan of British culture, British music, whether that's drum and bass, it doesn't matter what it is. Would I be right in saying that drum and bass is probably the biggest it's ever been in terms of the amount of different age groups, styles of DJs, variation of music? It's like, it's just huge on many different levels and
they're
demographics.
Elevating people like Chasing Status, like they're elevating it. Andy C, like they're non-stop elevating. There's loads of names I could mention. Everyone's flying the flag, you know. And there's the new generation, Headaches and Boo and all them guys are smashing it, you know. So it's like, of course, it's massive. It's in so many different countries, but there's so much different elements to it and sides to it and flavors to it and you know, sides to the scene. And yeah, you might feel like it's this right now, but I can see in the back of my head, I can see in front, I can see what's going on right now. I've been there, you've been there, you see the revolution. It's like everything happens, it goes round in circles and it gets stronger, it picks up some more weight, and now you got all these big, massive like sanctuary raves and all these things going on, and I love it, bro, because it's like that's where I'm happy. That's my vibe, and I want to make people happy, and that's where they're happy. I don't care. They're happy in them raves, and they're happy all the big massive festivals. They're happy in what they do. But when I see them ravers there, that's like passion there, bro. Like you say, people that's been following you and new generation that's learnt from their dads or their brothers or their mums or their sisters.
Yeah, that blows me away.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, your art, you know, my mum used to rave to you and that loads of times, Dad.
All
Come
the time.
on, you get that.
I get it. Like the other week, I was just randomly walking down the road, and it was like, I got off the train. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night, dark sun. Like, and I'm like, what does this geezer want? And he said, my dad gave me all these records and I listened to you lot.
Because like, it's generational, man. And it's like, you know, your foundation of the whole thing as well, the hardcore thing, way before I got into it. And, you know, there was people that was smashing it and, you know, I'm making a name for it. And obviously it's elevated through the years and different. And all the promoters, big up, man. Like, people that have stuck in the game for years. There's so many names. You know I'm talking. There's just so many.
Yeah,
there's a list of 10 like it's been there and they're just in it and keep fighting and pushing. And it's good to see man surface and making a comeback and do, because the whole thing went through a bit of a tipsy-turvy point in COVID and it lost this, you know, the whole club scene and people's habits. Yeah. And that's a whole different story. But the whole scene was affected by that. Obviously the dance community and whatever, and all the, you know, the live events got stopped and that affected the scene. And even before that, it was in a bit of a tats. Yeah. You know, people are losing on events and, you know, they're not planning their shit. And back in the day, everyone used to coordinate. I'm doing a rave then, all right, well, we'll go here. Nah, it's just like, do what you want. And then people take the hit. Yeah. And
do you know what I always said, right? Because you're very promoter-minded, because I've seen you outside clubs and festivals giving out flyers and putting flyers on cars. I know you're promoter-minded, which we'll get onto that, right? But the one thing about COVID, what fascinated me as a promoter, like me and Sonia are 29 years in promoting, never stopped. Like we're stupid. Like any person in their right mind would go, you know what, just stick to the DJing, because it's hard work promoting, Dan, isn't it?
100%.
But I honestly thought
stressful as well.
That what was going to happen is we were going to come out of COVID. Yeah. People were going to sit during COVID and think, be a bit wise and think, you know what, we'll start talking to each other. Yeah. We won't go up against each other. It got worse, Dad. It got worse with all of our promoter mates. And I was thinking, are you lot mad?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think for me, it's, there was that unity in COVID, wasn't there? That everyone was kind of like, you know, come back to earth. Yeah. And then everything just faded out. The opposite. Everyone, I mean, even for me, like, I went fishing in COVID. It was a stressful time. All my friends were in the scene were pissed off. No one was on good vibes. Everyone was down and broke, you know, and whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, not everyone, but it was majority of the people was just upset that we can't do this. And that's all I've ever done. So I decided to come away for a little bit and find myself, and I was going fishing loads, and I got into that, and then I started doing other things, and that's when the change was going on. So like at that time, it was like a wake up, because just before then we was in Thailand, and when we come back, me and Skibs and all that, it was mad. So it was a crazy time, but a lot was going on at that time as well. A lot of change. I thought a big change, and it was a big change. But looking back at it now, it weren't pretty. We had quite a good lockdown. I was with my missus. I moved to Southwest London. You know what I mean? I kept it positive all the way through COVID.
That first 6 months, I just like sitting out in the garden like I was on holiday. Dan, promoting, right?
Yeah.
Promoting. You're natural. I know you're a natural promoter, right? Yeah. And I know that you've put on a lot of parties over the years.
Yeah.
Why have you gravitated toward promoting, and what are your overall views of promoting? Do you enjoy
basically, it? Like different times, innit? Like I suppose that helped my career loads as well, because if I'm not putting out regular music or number one dance floor bangers, then how are you gonna say irrelevant? But you do raves and building relationships through them raves with people, with artists, and then of course it's stressful, but then like there's ways of doing it, and who you're working with is a big thing as well. So if you've got a good team and a good partnership, but I learned from the best, bruv. That's the easiest answer. Like I learned from the best. I've worked with all the top promoters in jungle drum and bass, like all of them, like down to Yankee, Terry Turbo, Paul Ibiza, Brett and Kenny. Like some people do things different ways, but they're all good promoters in their own right. And yeah, I mean, just working, building relationships, and then like, having a good night, and then you can earn some more money, and then like you kind of put it back into the brand, building your brands. And I've built loads of brands. My ideas are just never ending. I'm the idea man. I've got ideas. I've got hooks. I've got ideas. Like I'm quick like that. So if I'm working with people, I'll be always like, yeah, what about this? What about that? And we kind of just make concepts and whatever. And I've always been great at that, but I've never been a great executor.
Right, you need.
My wife is an executor.
Yeah, that's like me.
So I'm learning how to execute more now as I've got older, and I've got a good people around me that can execute. So that's the trick. And then with promoting, like I'm not gonna rush into it, because I've learned it's like a trade, isn't it? Once you've got that under you, kind of know. And things change, like the Facebook thing and all that. But if you've got a good team, and I plan to do loads more stuff, but the way the scene is at the moment, and the way that I've been trying to find myself in my lane, AK like in the rave scene or whatever, I kind of put a backlog on the promo. I've done a few things and they've been good, popped off. So that's yet to come. And like the stressful side of it, I kind of think that's just, it's like anything, can it? It's like a gamble or whatever you're doing.
It's a big gamble,
it's like, how is it going to be? But if you're confident in your stuff and you build up a little thing, and I just think when the time's right, and I'm quite good with timing as well, so I kind of dropped out at the right time where things were just not that, because I've built it for years. Like we did Sticky for 12 years. Or
Sticky was huge, wasn't it?
It was big, and then MC Convention.
What was the advert? Sticky. I remember all your adverts and that on the radio, all your hooks. I remember, yeah.
So I went for a whole era with that, and then I was working with Supplier as well, and he's a good promoter. Like again, he's a massive promoter, so he's a grafter. So Grant Epidemic. There's loads of people that I've kind of worked with over the years that I've learned a little bit from. And then I think for myself now, I want to do stuff, but I want to elevate as well. So I kind of done the Shabba D and Friends thing, where I feel like that works, because I give them a history within that. So the last one, the 35 year or the 30 year, whatever, then you're going to get my 35 year tour thing. I'll make that bigger. Yeah. But at the moment, I mean, I could do that next year, because really and truly, I started in 91. Yeah. And that come a little bit early, the other one, or later. So I was kind of, but originally, like, I've had fans pull me up and say, but you started in the very.
Some people know more about us than we know about us.
I actually started at about 90, but name-wise, 91 is where I put in my lyrics and whatever. So, so I mean, there's loads more to come, but I just feel like good energy and building more relationships with guys that I've worked for and put my work in and help them build their things is just as important for the scene.
Because I like talking about the promoter aspect, especially to someone who's been as successful as you as an artist, because a lot of people do want to get into promoting, or like a lot of people are fascinated with the people who put on the raves that they went to, or there's always been like
a connection.
There's a different energy around the promoter.
People trust you as well. Like they put their trust into you. You know that. Like you got your fans that follow you, and you know any party you're going to put on is going to be a good party.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, whether there's thousands of people there, but the vibes wise, you're going to do your best to make sure that is. You know, we've all taken it, but I took very few hits because I used to run my events off nothing, bro. I used to just generate. Yeah. That's how I worked it. I just worked it like that. And then I was rolling with people that was doing things different. Like, come on, man, let's put some bags in. Like, let's put 10 grand and make this massive. And
it doesn't work like that, does it? It don't work like that.
This is easy. And we've all taken them hits, you know, and this and that. But I've had good nights as well where I've gone out and done an event and just, wow, like, fucking smashed it. So you got to take the balance. And as a promoter, I feel like you just got to be ready mentally.
Yeah, do you know what I always say, right, with the promoting? Me and you wouldn't need to promote because you're out 8 times this weekend. You'd have had like an average of 5 or 6 gigs every weekend since the 90s, right? But there's 2 things that make me continue promoting, even at this age now, when really I don't need to do it with my DJ career and other stuff that I do. Yeah. But I find it's the most important part of what we do, because without the live side, how do we connect people and get people together enjoying the music that they love? Right? It's so important. And then also too, when I go back to like Skateland dance halls in the mid-80s and the connection of the promoter, the DJ, the selector, and all of that, that vibe of what a bringing the music to people is and what a promoter does. It's never left me, and like I just can't let promoting go. And it's not you know, like when we was all younger and putting on our first events, we were chasing something. Now I'm not even chasing nothing. No, you're not chasing. Now I'm just like, I just love giving people
you love it.
a good time.
And that's it. You're helping people, and it's a good vibe, man. It's a good energy because you can do things in the way that you want to do it, and the way that you feel that you need to do it, you do it, and that's what makes you feel good. Yeah. And that's what's hard to leave. Like for me, I never left it. I just put it down for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, it's time, you know, like you said, time.
Yeah, because I've been looking at myself. You know, them times I was promoting as well, and people say, oh, look, like, you know, maybe you're coming from Bristol at 5 in the morning and you look fucked or whatever, but you've been driving all night. You ain't even eating because you've been to 2-3 gigs, drinking coffee all night or whatever it is. Yeah. But, you know, with the promoting, when I was doing promoting, I was stressed out as well. It was stressing me a little bit. Yeah. So I was, you know, I weren't looking after myself, looking stressed because, you know, not make you eat and all that shit there. And you know what I mean? So that's another thing. But now it's different. You know what I mean? From back then, it was like, you just take it on. You know what I mean? And well, like I say, working with other good promoters, it always helps because it takes a lot of the, you know, big up Bridge and them guys there. I've done loads of parties with them, smashed it, like great promoters, like working with good promoters as well that do stuff, what they're supposed to do and promote. Yeah. It takes that big stress off of you, but then you kind of still got, when your name's involved, you kind of still got that, you still got that vibe about it, like, well, I don't want it to go wrong, I don't want it to flop. You know, I want to make sure everything's perfect, but you know, and I know it's like, you know, it's hit and miss when you do. But if you can be consistent and build up your fans and do, you know, even the little things that sometimes when at the right time,
Dan, how do you keep your voice for 8 sets? Like, how do you do that?
Boy, bruv. I've always had a thingy like that, but sleep is very important. Like, if I don't get sleep, I could lose my voice anytime. Like, if I'm up, for instance, like, I've got a schedule this weekend when I'm going to probably get in at 5, and I've got to be at King's, I've got to sleep and be at King's Cross by 9:50. So I'm going to have 3-4 hours sleep, or I might not even sleep, I might have to sleep on a train, but I need to sleep to get that energy. So it's like, you have to sleep and eat well as well. Like, make sure you eat, but I could have my voice for 20 raves, but if I don't sleep, mate, 2 and I'm lost it.
Yeah, that's some experience in it to do 8 gigs, an hour a gig, and you don't lose your voice. I've got good equipment
as well. I've got my mic, like, it's got a built-in booster in it. Like, you know, I've got the top mic. I've always rolled with, like, I always look out for that. Like, what's the top mic on the thing or whatever? And then, like, Sennheiser made me a personalised one with a booster in it. So, like, when I go, even I've been in raves lately, I'm like, what's that? I'm like, I just plug it in. It's like a studio mic. Yeah. But there's always times I got to turn it. And obviously, my ears are going a bit as well, innit? So, you know, 35 years of jungle drum and bass in my ears, like, I went for an ear test as well, and it's all blessed, but I've lost my mid range a little bit. So, you know, like because of the loud thing. So I wear earplugs and all that now. But like again, the adjusting to the right. Sometimes I pop one out. They help you so much as well. So I would always tell anyone out there to use them because like the monitors and the music's getting louder now as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but we're getting older, right? So like all things like that, like you know, but it's a good place to, yeah.
What does the future hold for you? You got this huge legacy that he's alive.
Loads more, man. Loads more. I want to still build. I'm building still every day and trying to improve and become a better human being. And also like just share my energy and love into jungle drum and bass, and input. Because like I say, like I do things really. Sometimes we think to ourselves, why did we do them and this that? But it makes sense to me now. Like I've got a part to play, and I'm just grateful every day that I can breathe air and still do what I do and get the love out there. And like I said to my agent the other day as well, I would, when the fans stop screaming for me and stop singing my lyrics, maybe never, but until they do, I feel like I've got a lot more to give and put in. And there's loads of things, man. My music's exciting, bro. Like I've got loads of good music I'm sitting on. I've always been futuristic in the studio, so some stuff I sit on and I am my own critic sometimes, the worst critic, but I ain't, because I know what a banger is and I know what a hit is.
Yeah.
So
who have you been making music with?
Loads of people, man. I'm just working with an artist at the moment called Stevie, a singer, and I've got loads of different stuff. MC-wise, I was with M. Dot last night. M. Dot R made a tune with a banger with him yesterday, and working with loads of different artists. We've got something potentially with a few artists, bigger artists that are getting involved. Talking to DWE the other day. I want to get people on my projects now because I've been featuring on people's things for forever.
Yeah.
So now I'm ready to put a real good package together, a real Shabba representation of my lifestyle and the way I'm living and everything. So they got like an EP at the moment ready to go. So it's like it's all about energy and good vibes and yeah. And that's it. I'm kind of just relaunching myself as an artist. And that's where I'll be happy to like put that energy into that music now to give something back to my fans that I really think that they deserve and I deserve to have out there.
Yeah.
You know, so
would I be right in saying you're never going to stop, are you? You can't stop.
Well, things are changing in life, man. So like I'm a junglist and whatever, you know, like I say, I'm a junglist guy. They can't stop me no matter how old I try. But what I'm saying is like life is, you know, like I say, I'm in a good place and things are elevating all the time. I'll never stop loving it, I can tell you that. But the way things are going at the moment, bruv, sky's the limit and the world's the oyster. So loads of things are going on behind the scene, positive, big things.
Yeah.
So I'm, you know, just proud and yeah, of the way that and the journey continues. So yeah, just grateful every day and there's loads more to come, but in different formats as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Shabs, I love you, mate.
Love you too, brother.
Mate, I absolutely love you.
Love you, man. Thanks for having me
I
on.
know no matter what you do,
yeah,
everything is always like a wow moment. Did he really do that?
Just want to big up the people that's helped me and all my people that love me and just all my fans and everyone in the industry. You know what I mean? It's nothing but love and respect and good vibes. And yeah, just if inspiration to younger artists coming up, just do yourself and just be you and be the best you can be, man. Don't overthink it. And try out meditation as well and Reiki and sound baths, man.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.
Bless.
Proud of you.